I'm Damon Zell, and this is your Eve Echoes weekly community news. And that's right, we got a lot of stories to go into today. But first, you know the drill. If you can tag that subscribe button, ring that bell, share and like the video, then of course you can stay up to date with everything that we're going to be doing on this channel. Now, before we get into it, there are some corrections that have to be addressed from the last episode. One of which, apparently I screwed up one of the screenshots of the big kills. It said it was listed as T Cosmos, but it was FDX from Genesis Wicked Corp. That was the 6.3 billion Vindicator kill. The other bit of information comes from the Flying Circus and, of course, the Spanish Inquisition about their little foray in blowing up the Terran Federation Citadel. They want it known that they were not hunting the structure, that they just came for the fight, and that it was Boop and some of the Gen pilots that did attack the structure and inevitably blow it up. They want it known that they are not allied with Genesis. Even though Genesis pilots were flying with them, they were flying with them as the Corp, Evo 1, not as a representative of the Genesis Alliance. Kind of like when the Gulag server does their coalition roams, the Gulag roams. And of course, they want to go on record saying that nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. So it's been a crazy week, hasn't it? A lot of things have gone down. So we're going to get into exactly what's happened this past week in the war and the overall outcome that just happened within the last 24 hours. So the state of the war, a lot has been going on. The attacks still continue upon all of Genesis' structures. And as you can see in the screenshot on the screen right now, just about every single one of their citadels was placed into a whole timer. Now that's not to say that some of these timers were not contested. In fact, in the system of OTAC N589, there was a rallied fleet for defense of KGen, one of the many alliances within Genesis Federation, to repel the attack of Beasts of the South, a arm of the Silent Federation and member of the Found I Love You Coalition. Now, the defense fleet consisted mostly of battle cruisers, some frigates, as well as a handful of battleships to defend against Beasts of the South. The battle raged on while the Genesis numbers did dwindle amongst the attacking fleet. In the end, they gave up the grid, and Beasts of the South took the timer and set the Citadel into hull. Now, this is not to say that some of the Genesis defense fleets have not been successful in their defense. In fact, there were several ways that they did save a couple of timers. In fact, the timer came available in LTAC-M, that's EMP Corp's Citadel location, and the Found I Love You Coalition did gather up in T-Par, and this was an hour before the timer would become available. However, with some logistical magic and creative interdictor play, they were able to delay the Found I Love You Coalition from getting to that timer on time. There were bubbles set up in the system of TCAG, which delayed the Found I Love You Coalition for about 10 minutes. And again in G Magic, as well as all the way up the pipe to G-TAC-Q. Some of these dictors were caught and killed, but not before others could keep bubbling the way to the Citadel. Found I Love You Coalition's interceptors were sent to pause the timer. However, these were met by a repelling force led by XTC Juniper, which I'm told said that scepters are delicious. The defensive tactics were able to delay the fleet until they got to the one system next to LTAC-M, which is MS2. By that time, unfortunately, the timer had repaired and that timer was missed. A battle then occurred on the gate, since they were not able to take the timer. It was a 30 versus 30 fight, which I am told that most of their fleet was wiped out, the Found I Love You fleet, except a few of their Logi, and a single battleship lost on the Genesis side. Unfortunately, I do not have accurate numbers through any of the bots to correlate this, but the leader of the defense fleet did say that it was some great sportsmanship, that Found I Love You took the fight, and everyone had a brawl fest on the gate and a great time. The next defense would happen when Found I Love You was out taking timers in a fleet of around 200, when the Chinese arm of Genesis dropped 300 on top of them, as well as a cap fleet, forcing the Found I Love You fleet to log off and miss the timer. Unfortunately, I do not have footage of either of these fights. I was not able to find any. Given those defense tactics, even then, they still lost a lot of ground, Genesis, with total stats being this week and of the last 30 days of a total amount of IS killed 6 trillion. This was parsed on the 28th. Within that 24-hour period, another 190 billion killed. 12 hours before that was parsed, I did get numbers for total damages of 5.9 trillion. However, that is, like I said, estimated up now to 6 trillion. The amount of captured citadels is 15 plus. They destroyed 23 plus citadels, 91 personal owned outposts destroyed, 15 capitals, as well as 5,000 plus ships. Now, these are approximate estimates based on the submitted kill mails via the Auxilius Killbot, which is enabled on the Fountain I Love You Coalition. Now, I do also have a ship breakdown if you're wondering, out of those 5,000 ships, which kind of ships got killed. I am showing 1 dreadnought, 2 freighters, 3 shuttles, 9 carriers, 9 corporation citadels, 35 capsules, 89 citadels. The difference between that citadel and the corporation citadel is that citadel is POS's personal owned outpost, I believe. 307 destroyers, 529 industrial ships, 665 battle cruisers, 981 cruisers, 1,116 battleships, and 1,746 frigates. So yes, the Fountain I Love You Coalition is steamrolling through Genesis space, basically almost uncontested. Now we're getting to the twists and turns of this whole story. Within the last 96 hours, between 72 and 96 hours, Industrial Corporation RTI has left the Genesis Imperium and has opted to join Void. This would be following the series of corporations that had already left and formed the new alliance, the Red-Headed Stepchildren. Now, single-player attacks on this coalition, or not coalition, the alliance, the Red-Headed Stepchildren, have been met by that one pilot who made that colorful comment last week. Powder Go Away was killed trying to take out the shields of one of the REDH citadels. And this was in system XKZB TAC H. Now, while speaking of REDH, Oscorp would also make a statement known. And a representative from Oscorp states that Oz Corporation dropped a citadel on Mama's front steps in WX as a poke in the eye to GenFed, who at the time had no home. They had joined Genesis Federation and for a long time were the only ones with a citadel within Genesis space. No place like home was expected to last 1 week, and it lasted more than 1 year. Oz is not evacuating this space. We, along with FL and other like-minded corporations, are declaring our independence. Let's see if Mama can live up to her own rhetoric of if we don't crush anyone and we are not the aggressors, is highly caveated. But the biggest news coming out of all this has happened within the last 24 hours. Now, I knew that this was happening within the last 72. I was asked to sit on the story so that it can happen the way it did. Several corporations have broken off of Genesis and formed their new alliance, the Brethren Court. These corporations are Orc, Noir, Twix, Evo 1, Wicked, HDR, XTC, KOR, Go, and BBQ. And as you can see from the screenshots below, this came as a complete shock to Mamasaurus Rex, the leader of Genesis Imperium, who has since then reverted back to the name the Genesis Federation. Where Mamasaurus Rex, feeling like Julius Caesar stabbed by Brute, does actually throw some major salt towards Karinsky, who is in fact now the leader of this new Brethren Court, with top FC Meliodas as his second in command. In fact, as an exclusive, I have the complete history leading up to the decision made by everyone that had left. Now sit down because this is a bit long-winded. It basically states out that Genesis leadership has been based on hate this entire time, and this is why the server hates them. Mamasaurus Rex runs everything Diplo military and has final say, unable to handle it, and has done it all poorly. Every request as a senior FC has gone wrong because Mamasaurus Rex disagreed. Now, before the server war actually took place, there were talks that happened, mostly between Meliodas and Zen, the silent executor They talked for about 2 hours, where Silent had no idea war was happening, despite Mama's pings that war was imminent. Mel had no idea about war, happy to fight with Silent regardless. Mel and Zen talked about doctrine. Zen wished Genesis leadership was this easygoing. Mama told Mel afterwards, don't talk to Zen, because he's the enemy and not your friend. Mama cited that Zen was exploiting Mel for information, and that Zen recorded the whole meeting and would post the conversation to Reddit. Even Auxilius Killboard Bot was rejected because Mama Sources Rex's grudge against No and Silent. Mama banned PM Blue, the bot creator, from the server due to his pitch to Mel about the bot. Mama Source Rex then went on record citing that she banned PM Blue for spying on Genesis, gathering information with the bot. Mel then begged the CEOs to make T-10 battleships and dreadnoughts. Meliodas cited that GenSpace cannot defend without these things, pitched increasing alliance taxes to fund the venture. Now, this effort itself took a lot of pushing, but they only achieved double tax rate, nearly not enough to fund the venture itself. The war chest being empty and the doctrine unchanged as a result, the Kite doctrine failed and failed during the previous Silent War. Mel had actively pushed for a Brawl fleet for months before the official doctrine change. Now, in order for a doctrine to become official within Genesis, you need it to be successfully tested within small, medium, and large scales fights, and this is hard to do. So Mel did not trust any of the FCs left to fly these doctrines. The next step was Meliodas pushed for all Alliance dreadnoughts to be in one location, and Mama questioned Mel's advice on this, saying that she disagreed with the one location policy, saying that people need to rat in their capitals. Mel tried to edit the doctrine sheet to include C-type weapons, and Mama reprimanded Mel for making a unilateral decision. Now we come to the infamous CEO meeting, which was leaked earlier this week on Reddit. So if you did want to find out what was spoken in this hour and 45-minute long meeting, you can check out any of the links on Reddit. There are multiple versions up, some shorter, some that were edited out, so you didn't have to spend the entire hour and 45 minutes listening. Now, Mama Source Rex opened up the CEO meeting by saying that this war is different because of the personal attacks against herself on the I Love You Fountain server. However, the personal attacks that she was describing were just a series of memes that had basically explained that Genesis will burn, with Mama Source Rex in real life face, her profile pic, plastered on the front of them. Meliodas asked for at least dreads in the staging area. Mel believes that people do not rat much in dreadnoughts, where Mama Source Rex challenged that by saying that people do rat with their dreadnoughts. As a result of this, only 10 capitals were rallied for the Starfish defense. That was that initial D-Day launch on the 13th. The alliance itself had several days to prepare. Mel's hands were tied. No decision was made by Mama. Mama thinks that she knew better than Mel and the other senior FCs. All of the senior command pushed for a Brawl doctrine. Mama said no for months. Every time doctrine talk would come up, she would get angry and refuse to change. The alliance rallied scepters and dictors for the Starfish battle CTA because it was a blob event. They even go on to say that situationally this was a valid tactic against a massive blob. However, it was easily countered by anti-scepter support, and the objectives are often surrendered. Mama wanted to continue running scepters and dictors in the south because ship damage. Basically, she wanted to make the coalition form up huge numbers every time. Mel instead proposed an alliance offensive operation, citing no numbers to defend an overcommitment of the enemy camps into their space. Mama refused, and the alliance continued to run scepter CTAs and getting fleets wiped. Mel reached out to Aurea for advice, best large-scale FC in Mel's opinion. They spoke for about 3 or 4 hours about the above situation and gave Aurea BGFC role to speak in the fleet high command. Aurea then pitched to move to the staging in Esoteria and evict the traitors, the redhead stepchildren, FL, OZ, SDR in hand, and consolidate the alliance into Esoteria and keep trying to hold the BZ pocket, citing that they should go up north most days a week and come back 1 day a week for defense to shoot the FL and OZ citadels, and eventually the FL and OZ citadels would fall and the alliance would rally back in a stronger position of consolidation within one region. All of the senior command agreed. Mama disagreed. Instead, Mama doubled down and instructed the senior FCs to ping for every Defense Citadel timer to keep causing ship damage to the Fountain I Love You Coalition, and to make them form up heavy every time. This plan, of course, backfired. The prime example of Russians losing their home because they brought enemy attention with the CTA level ping. The enemy predictably countered the CTA pings. In the next CEO meeting, and this is the one that was leaked to Reddit, Mel tried to discuss with the other CEOs his plan on winning, which was the need for dreads to defend and build more dreads now before it was too late. Mamasaurus Rex server mutes Meliodas and instead pushes for more scepters, trainer cruisers, and harassment fleets. And later Mama DMs Mel stating that he should let her run the CEO meeting, and cites that he was hot micing the reason why he was server muted. Meliodas later saw that the CEO meeting was recorded on Reddit and that he was not hot micing. He was then pleased that Kerensky stated that Mel's plan instead during the next town hall. Kerensky agreed and attempted to pitch Mel's plan. During this town hall, Mama took over the mic and talked over Kerensky again, pitching for scepters, trainer cruisers, and harassment fleets. Mel reached his limit, and now this is where they are. The moral of all this in the pre-treason talks was that Mamasaurus Rex did not trust her military. The current war situation is because Mama, bad at Diplo, total military control, lost the essence of the game and cannot let it go with petty grudges. Mel was going to leave the alliance and hope that people that flew with him would follow him. Bellic reached out to Mel because he also experienced some of the high command frustrations to a lesser extent. Meliodas shares his testimony of the above events. Bellic proposed that Mel share his testimony to others to garner understanding from the members that he actually wanted to keep flying with. Mamasaurus Rex kicked every good FC that Jen had. Mamasaurus kicked Wax because he was toxic. In order to get Wax back into Fleet High Command, Mel pitched to Phoenix that he was going to invite Wax back into Fleet High Command, and if Phoenix would share some responsibility when Mama found out. Phoenix was about to leave Genesis at this time. This is Phoenix Tassador, the well-known content creator who now flies with no please stop. Phoenix at that time agreed. These are back points that happened before all this. This is just an accounting of everything that led up to where we are today. Anyway, Phoenix agreed, and then Mama berated both Phoenix and Mel for disobeying her and allowing Wax back into high command. However, Mama could not kick both her senior FCs, who threatened to leave if Wax was removed, so Mama kicked Spy because she disliked him personally. When Mel confronted Mama about kicking out Spy from the Fleet High Command, Mama claimed that Mel had a colored view of Spy. He was never a good FC. Constantly belittled Spy's legacy. When Oria initially returned to the game, Mama refused to give Oria a BGFC role and made him a junior FC, until Mel gave Oria the role himself. At this time, Phoenix did leave on his own volition, citing that Mama kept throwing out Jen's best FCs and due to the needless stress of the job. So, as you can see, a lot led up to this point where all these corporations just said, we're done with it, we're leaving, we're going to do our own thing. Now, Kerensky did make an announcement when the new alliance was formed, saying that he welcomes all the salty seamen, cutthroats, and purveyors of blood and salt. Our undertaking is not understood by all, nor it should be. It is not meant to be a wide-reaching blanket of comfort, but a determined and grit-filled venture for those who have already forged bonds that span beyond the tickers and alliance names. When Cortez reached the New World, he ordered his ships burned. He knew that if the ships remained, his men had no choice to turn back or to think about turning back. He knew that doubt and second-guessing would be their ruin. He burned the ships and left them with no path but forward. Members of the Brethren Court, burn your ships, become untethered, we go forward. And if you haven't guessed it by now, they are going with a whole pirate theme, and the Brethren Court is a reference, has been referenced in the movies The Pirates of the Caribbean too, and the joke has been made several times that if they are the Brethren Court, then Mamasaurus Rex must be Calypso. And as I said, this did come to as a complete shock to Mamasaurus Rex, who did put out several announcements, basically saying that she apologized, that these guys picked a day when she was not available to do this, and it's personally a little rough and tough for her to swallow. This was unexpected, and I'm going to think on this for the next few hours and see where we are. I do not think we have enough core left to continue in the same manner, but the next phase looks like something we need to sort out. And in another announcement, she did make note that she did feel stabbed in the back by Mel and Karinsky, and they took a good number of corpses with them, but she wanted to make it clear that RTI was not part of that, and that Tiger was still a good person and in good standing with them, that he left and went to Void. She feels betrayed and disappointed at the way this was handled after 2.5 years of hard work. She was not given the courtesy of a heads up before it went down, and not given the courtesy of basic politeness afterwards. Now, I have not received statements from the Coalition whether they are going to continue the assault on the shell that is left of Genesis. So we will just have to wait and watch and see what happens, as this is a developing story. As an update to this story, Genesis Federation, after 2 years, has closed its doors and is retiring, standing down. And an announcement from Mamasaurus Rex, she says, "I already let the CEOs know, but I'm standing down Genesis. Mighty Memes is right in his comments that leadership level that anything bearing the Genesis logo will be destroyed. As I said all along, it's an extermination campaign, so I have spoken to my guys and we will bear the logo forward. We are moving to low and high sec so that our enemies can focus torment and taunts on us. And whoever is here can work on rebuilding whatever they want with their own foundations. We will do indie, hunt, and kill, and have fun on our terms. I am fortunate with my guys and gals that they are willing to bear that just to stay together and play, and you are welcome always to say hi and keep in touch with us or fly with us. When Genesis began years ago, it was to create a fun place to play with friends. I did not start this to be the biggest and best at anything, just to have fun and inclusive environment to play in. We grew so vastly in size because in that mission, we were successful. That is widely in part to people who are still here or only now just departing. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this great thing we built together. Even now, what we were, what we are, and what we brought to the server can never be exterminated. Even now, we are Genesis." Now, of course, this is a breaking story right now because the news was recorded on Friday. It should have released today, but as more things are coming, I'm trying to stay up to date with everything that's happening. That's why the news is a little bit old, but a little bit new at the same time. I'm making edits in between, and that's why this episode itself is a little delayed and a little bit longer than your normal community news. That being said, I did reach out to the Coalition for comment, and because this is just happening today, they do not have a statement ready for me. So we will cover that either in a special episode looking back at Genesis and everything that has happened since then, or we will cover it in the next community news. Now, during this week, there was a little bit of a shakeup in the Coalition as TF was expelled from the Fountain I Love You Coalition. What this all boiled down to was the acceptance of one of the corporations leaving Genesis, LGND Legend Corporation, and the bad blood history that he has, J-Factor, the leader of Legend, with Honk and Silent Federation. At the initial time, both corporations were red to each other. Honk has Legend Corporation permanently red due to actions taken 8 months ago, which we are not going to get into here. That has been explored on those episodes back then. Suffice it to say, within anger, some doxing threats were made. J-Factor did come out and apologize on Reddit, however that apology was not accepted. Thusly has stayed quiet within Genesis for the last 8 months, not a peep out of it. Now, Terran Federation's policy is a clean slate policy, as most leaders have been returning to the game, not within the game, for the last year and did not know of all the drama and things that have happened within that last year. The clean slate policy is that Terran Federation is for second chances, and you get a clean slate as your service will grant you citizenship. However, they will not stand for any racist, homophobic, any kind of bad talk or actions that are placed out there At the time, within Terran Federation, if you do cause any of this drama or anything like that within Terran Federation, you will be expelled from the Great Federation and thrown to the Bug Horde. But talks did break down. Senior Diplo from Terran Federation did try to get blue status with Honk for Legend Corp to exfiltrate them out of Genesis space. In the end, both corporations should have just been read to each other, and they should have just been exfiltrated out that way. However, with talks breaking down and tempers flaring, this did get escalated up to Silent Federation and not just Honk, where Silent then reset standings with Terran Federation to a gray status. Terran Federation, being a small alliance as it is right now, also returned the gray status. Thusly, they could not attend any CTAs, thusly would not be a part of the coalition any longer. Those TF members that did attend the CTAs from the Fountain Levy Coalition did go on record saying that it has been a lot of fun. They enjoyed every aspect of helping out, and they salute all who are involved to keep on the good work. And it seems the trend is following. What is old is new again. That's right, the Mercenary Coalition has resurrected itself and is calling back all of its old members or new members who are interested in joining to their banner. Now, I am told that all the old leadership will be returning, and they will be having an open call debate on their Discord server on May 7th. So all that wants to attend, there will be a link in the description below to their Discord server. They're going to be discussing the viability of a full-on return with the MC, and if that does, that will also be their launch date. Now, also be advised that they are going to go back to the basics, and that is that all members are welcome, all players are welcome, no SOV, just contracts. That's right, they're going back to the nomadic life of just killing things for ISK. They also want it known that even though that the No Police Stop was birthed from the MC, that there is no bad blood between No Police Stop and the Mercenary Coalition. So it is great to see that old players are returning anew to see and test out the waters that is Eve Echoes as of late. So a salute to the Mercenary Coalition, and I hope everything goes well. Now, if you were a member of the Discord of Echoes from New Eden podcast, or just listened to an episode, not last night's episode, but the episode before that, there was a final Jeopardy game championship on that episode. And in such, yes, I did not win. However, I did win a ship, that's right, a Providence Freighter. And what we're going to do with this Providence Freighter, that's right, you guessed it, we're going to have another Freighter Raid event. But this one's going to be held by the community for the community. That's right, that means everything that's going to be in that Providence Freighter will be able to drop. There's not going to be any rigs in there that have zero chance of dropping. Right now, the freighter is in an undisclosed location. There is talks right now of exactly how we're going to run it. It will probably be live via my channel, but I am accepting donations for anything anybody wants to donate to put into this freighter. As of right now, we have a fully fitted Nightmare, we have an Armageddon, we have several Capital Wrecks, and the list is just going to keep growing. So if you do have something that you want to donate to this Freighter Raid event, please contact me via Discord, and we'll get the arrangements hammered out to get them into this freighter. Anyone that donates will be mentioned by name and saluted for being a supporter of this event and the community at large. Now, we are going to be doing a few different things. Obviously, this isn't going to be in Nyla space. It's going to be in open space. I don't know how I'm going to run the clues yet. Like I said, we're still hammering out all the details. But I can guarantee there probably will be more fun to this. There will be a defensive fleet. I'm not going to let you know which ships will be defending the freighter, but it is, again, all in the planning, all in the works right now. We're going to be trying to shoot for late May to hold this event, or possibly early June. And I hope to see you guys all there. And in coming episodes, I will give more details as we draw closer to that date. Also, I want to let you know, on this channel, you're going to start seeing some other videos. As of June 2nd, Diablo Immortal will be dropping. It's also another NetEase sponsored game. I know I'm groaning too, but don't worry. It's also going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to cover it here on the channel. That doesn't mean that my Eve Echoes coverage is going to dwindle at all. We'll be covering everything. So please be on the lookout for some Diablo Immortal videos that will be dropping on this channel as well. In other news, a war has begun between Wild Geese as well as Trimark with the help of Red Machine. Apparently this all stems from a player from within Wild Geese who did apply and got accepted into Trimark, but the claims that the member had stolen roughly about $5 billion in Wild Geese corporate assets. Trimark launched an investigation, and through talking with several people throughout New Eden, they found out this player was told to do so via leadership. Currently, right now, there are several structures being attacked by Wild Geese and Red Machine on the Trimark borders, successfully creating a hull timer. Through Trimark, I am told that Wild Geese are attacking for what they call fabricated reasons in an attempt to invade their space. They are grief camping low-sec gates with capitals and attacking structures on a regular basis, also creating that hull timer. Their claims of Wild Geese are painting Trimark as villains to their members and to the rest of the server in order to invoke support for their invasion. Now, unfortunately, I have not received any response from Wild Geese on this. Once I do, that will be in a follow-up video. Now, there is also a statement put out by Trimark stating, because of the continuous incursions into our space, the grief camping of Kiara, and the aggression last night with bringing 11 capitals to our hull timer, we have had to take steps to show there are repercussions and to show our members that we will not sit and take it, as it were. That said, we have no desire to escalate or extend war that might make the game unenjoyable for Wild Geese or TM players. Therefore, in order to demonstrate that Trimark is not Wild Geese's punching bag, we are removing our prohibition on structure hitting for our members for Wild Geese for a limited time period. For approximately the next 2 weeks, our members will be permitted to hit your structures. This will end on the 9th of May, assuming no more escalation from Wild Geese. We believe this is a proportionate response to Wild Geese's action, and I hope at the end of it we can both say we've had a good time and can resolve any issues amicably. This is not personal, it is just a natural consequence of the actions Wild Geese has taken in our space for the past few weeks. We wish you good fights and that you enjoy the game. All the best. Now, I did reach out to a few different Wild Geese representatives. I know what I said before, but this is all live as I'm recording. But I did reach out. Unfortunately, it is about 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. in Russia, so I do not have a response from Wild Geese or their partners in this Red Machine. Again, we will follow up in another video. Last week, we touched on the memorial service for Aspen Ninja, Void, a Catskill Cartel member that did pass away. The memorial service did take off very well with a lighting of the Sinos ceremony and a Eve-centric eulogy given by Captain Benzie. As you see through several of these screenshots, it was a great time and a great service and truly a good send-off. Now I'm going to leave this last bit right here with the words from Captain Benzie during that ceremony.
Eyes forward, Capsuleer. The Sino is not yet lit. Consider your modules, your rigs and ammo before you undock, for the Sino is not yet lit.
This week on the Corporation Alliance Spotlight, we actually have a service spotlighted. That's right, this is the Blue Financial Services. Now you may be wondering, what is Blue Financial Services? What do they offer? Well, they offer a variety of services, mainly for Silent Federation members, such as loans. But for everyone, it is also a way for you that can try your luck with some of the fun commands, including one that can give you a chance to double your ISK. BFS also hosts a global currency that can be traded among anyone with no taxes. If you or your organization are interested in taking advantage of this no-tax currency, please DM PM Blue directly for more information on how you can make more from the services you may already offer. So you can go ahead and join their Discord for information on all services Blue Financial Services provides, and run the command BFS for the command list. Want a chance to win currency ranging from 3 million to 50 million? Run that BFS claim today. This week on What the Fit, again we have a pilot who loves their ship but hates the weaponry bonus. That's right, this week we have a Executioner 2 interceptor that is sporting medium rapid missiles. I mean, obviously one could go the dull route by putting small lasers on this, pulses or beams, but this one had the ingenuity to say, F it, I'm going to get more power grid and I'm going to put some medium missiles in this thing. So truly, is this a what the fit, or is this person crazy like a fox? Next up, we have another missile enthusiast, however this time in a Cinnable. That's right, you heard me correctly, a Cinnable pilot sporting C-type missiles. Again, because ship bonuses, they don't mean anything, they're just there for suggestion purposes only, kind of like the in-game fitting tool. But that's not just any old missile Cinnable. That's right, this is an exploring missile Cinnable, complete with both the relic and data analyzers. Of course, we save the best for last. That's right, we have a Orthrus pilot here that loves his missiles, but he also equally loves the Galante rifled rails. That's right, this Orthrus features both forms of DPS missiles as well as rails. Again, those bonuses are just that, suggestions, especially on a very expensive faction ship. So remember, when you do go out there and you kill something and that kill mail makes you wonder what is going on here, well, send it in to me and we'll take a look at it, and if it does qualify, we'll definitely put it up there and we can all go, what the fit? Okay, before we get into the big kills of the week, we do want to do a new section here on the show as a spotlight to fellow content creators. This week we are looking at Chicken, because he has a new video out this week called So You Want to Be an FC. This is a great video for any aspiring FC that wants to learn some tricks and tips on how to lead fleets. There's some interviews in there with other FCs and a lot of great information. Be sure to check it out. A link to it will be in the description below. Now we're going to start off with the big kills of the week, and Silent starts us off with a 22.9 billion Barghest kill, a 6.1 billion Nightmare kill, and a 6.4 billion Rattlesnake kill, a 6.2 billion Vindicator kill, and a 7.9 billion Orthrus kill. No Please Stop gives us a 2 Balgorns, one at 6.9, the other at 7.7, a 5.7 Vindicator kill, and 2 Macarios, one at 5.7, the other at 6.1. Genesis gives us a 5.4 Aerial, as well as 2 Balgorn kills, one at 6.4, the other at 6.5. The Providence Coalition gives us a 6.6 billion Balgorn kill, Terran Federation with a 5.2 billion Orthrus kill, and a 5.7 Macario kill. Myth gives us twin Vindicators, both at 5.7 billion each, as well as a 5.2 billion Nightmare kill. The Nomadic Nightmares shows up with a 7 billion Macario kill. The Brethren Court gives us a 11 billion Macario kill. The Red-Headed Stepchildren gives us a 7.2 billion Rattlesnake kill. Void with a 9.4 billion Vindicator kill. Revs with a 10.1 billion Balgorn kill. And Bold with a 14.6 billion Sigil 2 kill. Next, we move into the capital kills of the week. We do have 2. First shows up with a 6th Seal Alliance, the Hiss Corporation, with a 38.5 billion Nidhogger kill. And Beast of the South of the Silent Federation gives us another Nidhogger kill, this one at 40.1 billion. Also with cap kills this week is T Cosmos with a 35 billion Archon kill, as well as a 35.5 billion Thanatos kill. As well as the newly formed Brethren Court also got a capital kill this week, a 40 billion Nidhogger carrier. Now we move into everyone's favorite part of the show. That's right, the solo kills of the week. We've broken up into two categories, the industrial as well as the PvP, and each one does qualify for a Omega combo. So let's start off with the industrial kills of the week. OG Bush gives us a 1.5 billion covered 2 kill. Kevinator 1990 gives us a 2.8 billion covered 2 kill. Long John with a 3.1 billion procurer kill. Me Seeks with a 4.6 billion outpost kill. The Wind Blows and Hangs in the Hair gives us a 6.4 billion Terra kill. Yeegs gives us a 7 billion Nairis 2 kill. And the winner this week in the industrial category is Hinoki Longtailed with a 23.4 billion Wreath 2 kill. Next we move on to the solo PvP kills of the week, and starting us off is Laterra Tassador with a 3.2 billion APOC Striker kill. Lieutenant Kion gives us a 4.6 billion Probe Covert Ops kill. Duar gives us a 5.3 billion Orthrus kill. Sharika Dario gives us a 10.1 billion Macario kill. And the winner this week in the PvP categories is Paranoid AW with a 10.6 billion Balgorn kill. Congratulations on both of you for winning your prizes. Please DM me on Discord and I'll tell you how you can get your prize and we'll get that out to you. Now, this does end the show this week. However, if you need more news in your life, there are other outlets you can go to. Obviously, there's the Sky News, Russia's premier Eve Echoes News. But don't worry, all the videos will be in English subtitles. You have the ever-popular, legendary Echoes of New Eden podcast with Taylor, Rick, and Rambo. And if you want to be part of their live studio audience, you just have to show up on their Discord on every Thursday night. Following next would be the Blue Bulletin, sponsored by the Auxilius Killbot. Because we don't have an API yet, get yourself the Auxilius Killbot to your Discord to record all your kills. And lastly, we do have the New Eden radio show. They have great music going all the time, great shows, as well as a great community spotlight show that is on every Sunday. So, that's it for me. Have a great week, have a great weekend, fly safe, and remember, we're always one vision, one purpose, one friend.